In this video, we're going to take a look into one of the methods that we can use to get really clear vocals even with a lot of delay or reverb applied on it. I actually wanted to include this topic in our previous video in which we made a snap house track, but we were working with the official acapella which was already mixed with a lot of delay and reverb that there was nothing more that I could do on it. But now we have a vocal from a really good singer. She is also one of our subscribers. Shout out to Vivian for this vocal. Now let's get into the project. So here is her dry vocal.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs?
I already added the necessary effects to mix this vocal. Let me bring it up by expanding the inspector view. Here we have the track and let me enable the effects track. And here are the effects. First we have a Sonitus. So here are the effects. First we have the Sonitus multiband compressor to control the dynamics of each individual bands of frequencies. Then we have our Vox compressor to control the dynamics as a whole, not just individual frequencies. And then we have OTT to make this vocal fit in an electronic sounding track. Then we have the de-esser from Dead Duck to remove the harsh S sounds from the vocal. Then we have TDR Nova to cut the low and high ends. And finally, we have a little bit of reverb by using the Roam plugin.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs?
Now let's add a delay effect on it. I'm going to add a really simple delay plugin called Tempo Delay. And I'm going to change this tempo sync to 1.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs?
Nope. Now let me show you how we can fix this overlapping between the dry and the wet delayed vocal. To do that, we need to move this effect into a separate track so that we can control it separate from the dry signal. I'm going to click on this plus beside this sends, and then we are going to go way down in that menu, and here we can see we can add a stereo bus, which works fine, but I usually prefer using buses when I want to direct a lot of sends or outputs to that single bus. In this case, we are only working with the vocals, so aux track is fine for this. And here we have aux 1. Let's rename it VFX, vocal effects. Now a copy of this track is being sent to the VFX track. If I solo it, you can hear the same vocal coming through both these tracks.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs?
Why did we add this aux track? In order to control the delay, right? So we click on the vocal track and then drag this tempo delay into the VFX aux track. So now we have moved it to here. We already have the dry signal coming out of this vocal track, so we don't need the dry signal to come through the VFX track too. We only need the delay effect. So we will turn this mix all the way up to 100.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs?
Now we can sidechain the vocal effects, aka the VFX track that we just made with the original vocal. If you are unfamiliar with the topic of sidechaining, I already have a super detailed video on it, which I will link here. Now I'm going to use the Sonitus compressor that comes with Cakewalk to do this. You can use any compressor that can take in a sidechain input. Now when you're adding the plugin, make sure that it's the last plugin in the effects chain, because this compressor is going to act like the final volume fader of this track, which is going to duck down the level whenever the vocal signal comes in. So now we have to get this vocal as a sidechain input to this compressor. To do that, we click on the vocal track and then click this plus here, and we look for the name of this plugin here in this menu. Here we have Sonitus effects compressor side input on the VFX track. So we select that and a signal is being sent to this compressor. To make it clear, the main audio input of this compressor is still the output of this tempo delay plugin, but the volume of the output is going to be dictated by this vocal track. So let's set the parameters for that to work. The threshold is going to be around here and the ratio here, and since I want this compressor to react quickly, I'm going to reduce this attack really low. Alright, now if we solo this vocal track along with this effects, you can see the gain reduction happening here.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs? Another star, you fade away. Afraid our aim is
See, the level of the delayed vocal reduced whenever the dry signal came in. I just overdid it so that it will be really evident. You don't need to put this threshold here. I'm just going to increase it, but decrease the level of the volume here in this track. Oh, and by the way, we need to have this output set to vocal because when I am reducing the level on the vocal bus, I want it to also affect the level of the effects applied on the vocal. Just so you know, there are delay plugins in which we can do the sidechaining in the plugin itself. For example, the Baby Comeback plugin has this ducker knob, which when used, ducks the delayed wet signal whenever the dry signal comes in. But the method I showed you now opens up a lot of possibilities and gives us a lot more control over the effects. For example, I added the Stadia Nova EQ plugin on the aux track such that the high end of the delayed vocals are removed. So they are distinctively different from the source dry signal.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs?
We can also go crazy on this. I'm gonna add some more reverb and decrease the reverb and mix.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel highs? Another star, you fade away.
And that's it for this video. Leave a like if you found it useful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Vehicles. Drive. Okay, go.